I'm Melia. I'm an attorney. I'm a businesswoman. And like many of you, I'm a mom. I'm also the voice behind Parents Court, where we talk about parenting real kids in real life and all that comes along with that, especially as they get older and things get a little bit more complicated. Let's get into today's case. Today's story comes from a headline that really stopped me in my tracks because of the nature of the case. Let's take a quick look.
My son got accused of calling a little black girl out of her name on the
Here we
school
have mom
bus.
learning that her son is bullying a little girl on the school bus. And at first, she didn't want to believe it. And that's common. We all do it. We don't want to believe that our children can be little meanies. Most parents don't want to believe their child can be capable of harm, especially real harm, like what bullying can be. What I so love about what this mom did is though she had her initial denial, she recognized that denial is not the moment. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent, but staying in denial does. And she handled it.
I get a phone call from an aunt saying that her niece got off the bus crying because my son called her niece out of her name when he got off the bus because she was black. Not my son.
You had to believe
Ain't
it.
no way that was my son.
It's hard.
But yes, it absolutely was.
This mom felt her instinct to protect her son, but she didn't stop there. She didn't pause there. She dug a little deeper.
I called him in the room with this woman on speakerphone, and I said,
Good job,
"What
Mom.
did you say to that little girl when you got off the school bus?" His face, immediate guilt. "I'm sorry, Mom." I said, "What do you mean you're sorry? So you said it?" "Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Please don't whoop me." I said, "Oh, okay. So you said it. You knew it was wrong. You knew you would be in trouble. You knew I wouldn't agree with it.
And see, that's
so
all it
now
takes.
you're sorry that
Is
you got
one moment of
caught."
accountability, one moment of truth, one moment of centering the child around the truth and requiring accountability.
Then I proceeded to tell the aunt, "I need your address because me and my son
This
are
mama
on our
disciplines.
way to your
That's
house
obvious.
so that he can apologize to your niece to her face." We had a real long conversation on the way over there about how what he did was wrong and how he was going to be completely and totally 100% intentional with his apology.
Instead of minimizing what happened, instead of excusing it, instead of protecting her son, which is, our natural mama bear inclination, she leaned into the truth. She asked pointed questions and she got to the bottom of it.
But the apology wasn't even enough for me. I made him go in the store and pick this little girl out gifts. I made him apologize. He gave her the gifts and they hugged before we left.
Her intentional response is where she got things very right. She centered her conversation with her son around the harm, not her own personal embarrassment, not her son's discomfort. It wasn't about how it made her look as a parent, but she focused on the experience of the little girl who was actually hurt by her son's behavior. This is not only teaching accountability, but it's teaching empathy. And we all know that our kids can do a little bit better, not only being accountable, but having empathy. She required her son take responsibility in a way that was age appropriate and public enough to matter. It wasn't just punishment, although she got in his tail a little bit, but she created a teachable moment. And we have to recognize when we're going through things like this with our children, everything that we say or do in those moments is teaching them something. This mom quite literally could have interrupted what could have been a pattern of behavior just by taking it seriously and addressing it. She didn't wait until his behavior became a worldview. She didn't wait until it followed him into his work. She didn't wait till it followed him into adulthood or in his other relationships. She saw it, she worked through it, she addressed it, she corrected it while her influence in her son's life is still strong. And that matters more than most parents realize because as our children get older, we are slowly losing our influence over what they do and what they don't do. Now, for her son, this becomes a defining moment in his life. When we hold our children accountable with clarity and compassion, they learn things like with power comes responsibility, actions have weight, that impact matters more than intent. And these are the kids who grow into adults that actually apologize, who can self correct, who don't fall apart when they have to be confronted. These lessons don't disappear. One other thing that I want to point out that mom did a really good job at, and that was focusing on the girl who was harmed, on her bullying. What the mother modeled wasn't just accountability in that moment. And when an adult names the harm and responds decisively and appropriately, it sends a message. You matter. What happened to you matters. And the adults who are around you who see it will protect you. Do you know what kind of trauma that can disrupt? Things like this then show up later in our homes when we're dealing with entitlement, when we're dealing with disrespect and the lack of accountability. I have parents asking me all the time, why is my adult child like this? But the answer is that behaviors that aren't corrected early don't disappear. They mature, they get better, they get more sophisticated. The good news is the core lessons that we teach our children in these moments also travel with them. This mom just didn't correct the behavior. She planted a value system in her son that he's going to have forever. She's teaching him that love doesn't mean covering for you when you're wrong, that parenting doesn't mean protecting you from consequences, even though I'm a mama bear and my job is to keep you safe. Character is shaped when parents are willing to be uncomfortable, maybe be a little bit embarrassed sometimes. And listen, if you're parenting young children, start early, like this mom did. If you're parenting teens and young adults, I don't care what they tell you, it's never too late. Start modeling the behavior, setting boundaries and expectations for your young adult children now. What we saw from this mom is a lesson that we can all take away, that the moment might not be perfect, but it's always the perfect moment to help our kids be better. If this story hit home for you, know that you're not alone. Subscribe to Parents Court, and let's keep having these conversations that help us learn and grow and help to make our families even stronger. I hope this helps.